Hey guys, welcome to another YouTube video. And in this video, I'll be I'll be back on the BBL train. I of course in the last video, as you saw, I continue my AFL 2022 season review videos, which are hopefully, as I said in that video, I'll be finishing off before. Hope I'll finish off before the new year. For the years out. But in this episode, in this, I'll be continuing with my BBL match reviews, and so on and so forth. So to get straight into it, so I've got two matches to review today, which is the Adelaide Strikers and the Sydney Thunder game, which was on the other night as I'm recording this, and the game last night as I'm recording this, between the Melbourne Renegades and the Brisbane Heat. And as you can tell by the shirt I'm wearing today, you can obviously tell who won out of that game. And also apologies to my fellow Renegades fans for not wearing the shirt. In the other review, I was gonna wear it, but I forgot to put it on. So unfortunately, yeah. So but I do got this on now. So yeah, there you go. So yeah. And by the way, but I've worn this shirt all three times watching Renegades matches this season, and all three times they've won. So I'm not speaking too early as a Renegades fan, but it's if it's luck or something like that, then yeah. So yeah. But we'll get to that later. So we'll talk about the Adelaide Strikers and the Sydney Thunder. Obviously, we all know. Of course, I know. You all know. We all know what happened. The last time these two teams met. Of course, the Strikers won by a massive 124 runs, and the Thunder got bowled out for a fantastic 15, which that happened almost a week ago now. And I still can't believe it's just happened. It still can't believe it. Many people, and even some cricket commentators, still can't believe that just happened. Really, but we'll focus on this game first. The Sydney Thunder won the bat flip and elected to bat just like they did the other night against the Melbourne Renegades. Of course, Hales hit the first, not only hit the first boundary, but also hit the first six as well. Just like he did the other night at Marvel Stadium. A very solid start. The Thunder did end the power play with none for 39, a tick under 10 and over. But unfortunately, most of those runs were basically off of Alex Hales. Only about 2 or 3 of those runs were from Matt Jilks, which he didn't last long afterwards. And of course, the poor guy's terrible start to the Big Bash season continues without LBW for just 3 off 7. Of course, he started the season with 2 second ball ducks. Got off the mark in the third time lucky in the Renegades game, but only got the 2 runs, I believe. So 5 runs in 4 matches now, I think. Yeah, 5 runs in 4 matches. That is pretty average, really, for an opening batsman. Riley Rousseau, he contributed with 14 from 13 balls, but unfortunately he tried to go for 1 too many and basically went out. Got held out on the boundary. Soon afterwards, Hales did bring up his half century off 33 balls. It was a fantastic innings from the Englishman, from the English opener. it looked like at some points he was just unstoppable, really, in that case. And then so then the Thunder it did reach halfway at the 10 over mark at 2 for 79. And then it wasn't until the 13th over that they took their power surge, which they didn't do too badly with, none for 24, which was an improvement on the last three matches that they had the power surge, to be honest with, and then of course Hales had this big partnership with Oliver Davies, which that innings of Hales came to an end on 68 from 50 balls. It was a fantastic innings from him. Then soon afterwards, Oliver Davies got held out on the boundary, giving Colin de Grano his second wicket, the big Kiwi. Then strangely, Daniel Sams, he tried to play a ramp shot, but unfortunately mistimed it and was caught at, so I think it was caught at short fine leg, which handed Henry Thornton his second wicket for the match and his 11th for the season in 3 matches. An unbelievable start to the season for him. I mean, took 4 wickets in the first game against the Sixers, took 5 for 3 in the first game against the Thunder, and in the second game against the Thunder, he's taken 2 wickets. A fantastic start to the season for Thornton, and I wonder if how much he's going to get in this season. You never know with that. And that was the real big moment in the match. In the inning. Sorry. The Sydney Thunder finished their 20 overs on 550. It was a pitch that I watched on Channel 7, and Ricky Ponting said that if they got a score of 150 of over 150, then it would be a score to be very hard to chase down on that sort of pitch, because it was a pitch where you couldn't, you could stay in, but it's a pitch where you couldn't, it just couldn't come onto the bat. So it was pretty hard. It was, well, I think the word I'm looking for was, what I was saying is that you can make starts with it, but you can't exactly go on with it. The only one that did in that Thunder innings was Hales in the end. And some might say Davies with 42 as well, but yeah. So Hales, of course, top scorer for the Thunder with 68, and Henry Thornton, from his 3 overs took 2 for 18, which continued his fantastic start to the season. And that left the Strikers needing 151 to win from their 151 to win from their 20 overs. And at a required run rate of just a tick over 7.5 runs per over to go 3-0 in BBL season 12. It didn't start that well for them with Jake Weberald holding out on the boundary for 9. That brought Chris Lynn to the crease, and again for the second time in 3 matches, he and Matt Short got a 50-run partnership and of course it's a day per seconds. And for the second time this season, Matt Short brought up his 50 off 28 balls. I'm struggling to I still think his innings against the Sixers was better, but I think this innings was basically almost the same, really, where he was on about, at one stage I believe he was on about 6 off 11 balls, and then so he took his time and sussed the pitch out, and then basically once he did, he just went bang, and he brought up his 50 in quick time in the end also. Unfortunately, that partnership between he and Lynn Saturday would come to an end. with Lynn being knocked over for 28. It was an 83-run partnership. It was unbelievable, really. It pretty much got him over the line, really, in that one. And then Matt Short eventually was given out LBW, but he reviewed it. Unfortunately, it was unsuccessful, which ended Short's innings on 65 from 44. Not long afterwards, the Strikers took their power surge, which they took number 16 from it. So I believe, I don't think there was any wickets conceded in the power surge in this match. De Gronholm got run out off some brilliant piece of fielding from Daniel Sams. Run out for 12 off 11 balls, and that was pretty much it. The Strikers got to the total required with about 8 balls to spare. They pretty much cruised actually with it, and it was. Yeah, Matt Short got man of the match for again the second time in the season with his 65 or 44 deliveries. That included 3 4s and 5 6s in that knock. So really well done to him. And Nathan McAndrew in his first game for the Thunder for the season. Took 2 for 25 for his 4 overs. He was the clearly the best of the Thunder bowlers. In the end, of course, the Strikers won by 6 wickets. And they are still undefeated with a very, very healthy net run rate. A very healthy net run rate for sure, which was unbelievable. Really, a very good start to the Strikers, where. As I said, I think when I reviewed the Strikers in the Sydney Sixers game, I did sort of predict them to finish outside the 5, and predict them to finish the bottom 2 I put them in 7th, because it's just so tight. If you look closely at every single squad, every single one of the 8 squads in the Big Bash this season, there's not a standout. There's not a team. Yeah, yes, you can say the Brisbane Heat, of course, without Chris Lynn, and all that, but they've still got some great players in there. In Sam Billings. We'll talk about the Heat in a bit when we get to the Renegades game. Of course, you've got Billings and all that, but I predicted the Strikers to finish 7th because quite simply I had to pick 3 teams to not make the 5 to not make the finals, and unfortunately the Strikers were one of them, and it looks like I might. It's still early days. It's still early days in the season, but it looks like for now I might have gotten that prediction 110% wrong. Definitely with them being on top of the table right now. So yeah, and I think it's with the Strikers getting the likes of Head and Carey back, it's just going to make them even better. It's just going to make them even better, really. And I'm so excited to see how far this Strikers team, how far this Strikers side goes in BBL 12. Now we move on to to last night's game between the Melbourne Renegades and the Brisbane Heat at GMHBA Stadium in the great G-Town, in Geelong. So the Brisbane Heat won the bat flip and elected to bat first. It was a good start. I think Max Bryan hit the first bounder, I believe, in the second ball, I believe, and then of course Colin Munro hit the first 6 of the match. But a couple of balls later, he got out, tried to go for another one, but but of course got held out on the boundary. Soon afterwards, Max Bryant also went. Thanks to a brilliant catch from good old Dre Russ for 5. So and at that stage they were 2 down for about, I think they were about 2 for 14 or 15, I believe, which was unbelievable. Which was good bowling really from the good power play bowling from the Renegades. And then of course Sam Billings and Matt Renshaw got started this unbelievable partnership that they had, which ultimately had scored 61 runs in that partnership. During that time, obviously the power play, they got 2 for 24 from that, which was great, which was good really for them. I mean, it was a pitch that I don't know. The pitch was interesting. You had to be patient with it. You had to be patient. You had to wait for the right balls to come your way to smack of you. You just don't want to go ham from the first ball, because it was just absolutely, as we see in the Renegades innings, especially earlier on in the innings, it was just absolutely unbelievable, the pitch. So and during that halfway, the Heat went to 2 for 75. At that stage, I believe the Heat went past the partnership between Billings and Renshaw was past 50 runs anyways, and then of course Billings ended up getting caught behind for 25 to end that partnership between he and Renshaw. I said for 25. Then Matt Renshaw about 3 or 4 balls later to Tom Rogers, who by the way got Billings out. By the way, he chopped one onto his stumps for a run of ball 29, and that meant Rogers got his 2nd wicket for the over. By the way, And then in Rogers' next over, he quickly got his 3rd. This again caught behind. This time it was Ross Whiteley who was the victim. That brought in Michael Nisa. He didn't last long. He got bowled through the gate from Akil Hussain. He got his 2nd wicket. 2 balls later, he struck again. This time it was James Bazley again, bowled through the gate. And then there was a bit of controversy. Now of course, Jimmy Pearson, who's the Brisbane Heat captain, originally in the 18th over, wanted to take the power surge, but I think there was a rule. I think there's a rule with this where you have to make a decision on remind the umpire on taking the power surge before they set up the head up the umpire down there and then the square leg umpire. If they get set up, you can't use the power surge. That's the rules. So yeah, it was. I didn't understand it at first, and I did watch it on Channel 7, and I think Finchy was saying that Richo heard it, which was Kane Richardson said beauty, yeah. But unfortunately, the Heat had the last laugh in that one. They took 1 for 29 from that. 1 for 29, sorry, from there. From that power surge and from the 19th and 20th overs, the 1 wicket being, sorry about that, being Mark Steckety got caught for 4 off 8. That gave Tom Rogers his fourth wicket, which was absolutely, I was so pleased for him because he's one of a few, because I mean, previously we've had Sam Harper, a lot of others. I mean, Nick Manson, of course. Some that have had opportunities with other BBL clubs, and then has come to us and basically to make him better again, and he has. He got 4 wickets in this one, in this game for sure. The Heat ended their 20 overs on 8 for 137. Jimmy Pearson, again, just like the last game against the Gades, he played a lone hand for the Heat with 45 not out from 30 balls. Most of those 45 runs came from the power surge, by the way. Tom Rogers, he was the pick of the Renegades bowlers with 4 for 23 from his 4 overs. The Melbourne Renegades were set a target 138 runs to win from their 20 overs at a required run rate of just under 7 runs and over to also make it 3-0 in BBL 12. And for me, I just sat back and just say, and just thought, I've seen in the last 2 games, Harper and Manson and all the top order just get off to fast starts and get the team off to a fast start. And I just thought, kicked back on the couch and just thought, it's going to be happening again. Wrong, because Sam Harper got caught very first ball of the innings for a golden duck. It looked like he was trying to hit it away under the onside, trying to hit it. Unfortunately, hit it too well, hit it in the air, and unfortunately got caught at, I believe it's square leg, as well. And then that out came Jake Fraser McGurk, came out, and he just and he hit it first ball 4 and just thought, wow, this is going to be fantastic for him. Unfortunately, it was a false dawn because 4 balls later, he ended up, on the last ball of the first over, he ended up nicking one and caught behind and handed Michael Nisa his 2nd wicket in the over, which was not done yet because in the first ball of Nisa's next over, Nick Manson shot one on for just 2. I mean, he scored 87 and 39 in the previous 2 games, and then he just got out for 2. And speaking of 2, Nisa had 2 in 2 balls, which left Jono Wells out, and then out came Jono Wells on facing the hat trick ball, and and at this point in the innings, the new ball, it was just hooping around. It was just hooping around, and nobody from the Renegades top order could barely get a touch on it. The only time they could touch it, that they can get a touch on it, is nicking it and get caught behind. That was the only thing. Jono Wells came out there, first ball. It swung in. It swung in. I think it swung in, and I think you've already seen it by now. What Jono Wells decided to do was leave it. Unfortunately, it crashed into his off stump. But I just went, "Are you kidding me?" Why would he do that? I mean. Probably he was expecting it to. I don't know what he was doing. Probably he was thought maybe it was going to set. And maybe I should look at the dismissal again. It looked like it was going to swing in. I don't know what. It maybe just thought it was going to hold its line. But it swung in, and he just left it, and it's just crashed straight into his off stump. And lo and behold, Nisa gets the 9th Big Bash hat trick. And it's the 9th hat trick in Big Bash history. I mean, it's unbelievable. It was absolutely incredible. The Renegades were 4 for 9 from 3 overs. And I just couldn't believe it. And I just thought, no way that I'm still haven't recovered from the Thunder being all out for 15. Don't tell me my Renegades are going to do the exact same thing. Not the exact same thing, but get bowled out for a low score. So then Dre Russ came out. He blocked the first 2 balls, and then the third ball, he just gets given this gift of whack straight over the red chicky stand, over the stadium sign, exactly 100 meters over the roof. It was unbelievable. I still think it is a good plan from him, because we saw that way that ball was hooping around. And then basically he just went, you know what, I'm sick of this ball. Bang, whack it out of the park. Get it, box the ball. Umpire, get the box of balls, because that one's gone. So, which wasn't the last time, by the way, that we had a ball disappear out of the stadium, which we'll get to that later. So yeah, and it seemed like this old ball, this new ball that they brought out, it wasn't as good as it was with the first ball, where the first ball with the new ball was hooping around corners, and in this one it wasn't doing that at all. And this partnership, which ended up being 50. It ended up being over 50 run partnership, I believe. Anyways, between Finchy and Dre Russ, there was totally different things. Russell was being the aggressor, being the occasional aggressor. This knack of anything that's in my zone, anything that is outside off stump or outside leg, I'm just gonna have a go at it, and have a go at it. On the other hand, Finchy down the other end was basically he just used his head and said, we can't. This team can't afford to have me dismissed early for a stupid shot. So I'm just gonna play smart. So instead of just he just played for ones and twos, and blocked out the good balls, while Dre Ross has been the aggressor and just whacking sixes out of the park. I mean, he ended up with 6 sixes in his innings, by the way. So the Renegades got to halfway at 4 for 65, despite being at one stage 4 for 9. It didn't look like this match was going to last long. Still requiring 72 runs to win, by the way, from the next 10 overs. Soon Dre Russ brought up a very entertaining 50 off 32 balls, hitting only the 1-4 and 6 sixes in that knock. And then soon after that, the Renegades took their power surge in the 15th over, and I could sense that with this power surge, that would mean that there would be that this partnership could soon come to an end. Unfortunately, I was proven right. I could sense it that something was going to happen with our set. It did. Russell ended up getting out for 57 from 42, caught behind, which let's focus on Dre Russ's innings first of all. It was a very different innings of where it wasn't like a blitzkrieg, but it wasn't like a slow innings of where he was on at one stage. If he was on at one stage, 19 off 22 balls or something like that, and then just whacking sixes and getting 50. It was a very calculated innings where he just basically, whatever was in his zone, he was going to hit, and whatever wasn't in his zone, he was going to block it out, either play for ones and twos. So then the Renegades of course, ended their power surge on 1 for 11, which was, of course, the power play and the power surge wasn't kind to the Renegades in this game. It was in the last couple of games, but this one not so much. And then Akil Hussain came out, and he had this attitude in the Thunder game of I think I said this in that review of basically either I'm gonna hit sixes or go out trying, and he did. He hit a couple of sixes, and it was a very good, very entertaining innings in its own right, actually. With 30 off 19. When Dre Russ came out, I thought I probably would have wanted Will Sutherland to come out and just have him, do it differently, but unfortunately, and just be the same. Just basically, just whatever's in your zone, just hit it out of the park. Doesn't matter if you get out, just have a go at it. But they brought in Hussain, which was a great decision in the end. And it came down to the last over. It came down to the last over. Before that, Hussain came out. Went out. Trying to hit another six. Went for one too many. Got caught on the boundary for a very good 30 off. A very good 30 off 19 deliveries. That came out Will Sutherland, and I just kept saying to myself, if I was Finchy in this situation and Sutherland came out, I just said, no matter what ball it is, doesn't matter if it's a Yorker or a good length ball, or if it's a Yorker or middle stump, or a length ball or a short ball, just have a go at it and just whack it. Well, let's just say he did do that. He absolutely whacked it out of the park and even went further than Dre Russ's hit earlier on in the innings. And that was probably one of the more important sixes that have been hit throughout this tournament, because that meant Fidji, and also I probably said he's either going to go face a dot ball and just hand it off to Finchy to do the rest for the final over, or hit a six, and then that would mean the pressure's off for Finchy, where he can afford a dot ball or two and just knock it around for two, and then knock it through for a single, bang, game over. That's what it is. That's what would happen. And that's what happened. Instead, Finchy whacked it for 4, and it was game over. The Renegades won by 4 wickets, and I was, and you can believe I was absolutely buzzing, absolutely happy, because we haven't been successful that much in the last 3 seasons. Of course, 3 wins in BBL ever since we won the Big Bash title. It's been 3 wins in BBL 09, 4 wins in BBL 10, and 4 wins in BBL and 4 wins in BBL in BBL 11, I believe. I think I heard a stat where it's basically there'd been 10 wins for the Renegades in the last 3 seasons, and now we've won 3, and it's the first time also that we've won 3 straight since we won that title in BBL 08. A phenomenal stat, really, in that case, and it was unbelievable, and right now I'm riding this wave of Renegades momentum. I don't know how long this is gonna last. You never know. We probably might fall like an absolute stone and just finish putting spooners in again. I don't know, but I'm riding this wave of emotion, really. Back to the match itself. Back to the match itself, of course, not surprisingly, Dre Russ, with 57 of 42, got man of the match. So, and to conclude this video, it's, as I said, it's massive for the Renegades, because for the last 3 years, we've all known the Stars have been the top team in Melbourne. There's no doubt about it. They've been the top team ever since they lost that BBL 08 final to this mob right here. They've been the top dog in Melbourne in the Big Bash. Well, I don't want to. I'm not going to say it, but signs are looking good for the men in red. Signs are looking good on that front for the men in red. That's all I can say. I'm not going to say it, but I don't want to speak too early. But signs are promising. I knew this season when I saw this squad, I thought, this squad's gonna be pretty interesting. I've been proven right, and as I said a moment ago, I'm riding this wave right now of Renegades momentum. I don't know how long this is gonna last, but I'm just gonna enjoy it, because we haven't had success like this in like 4 years. So we're just gonna enjoy it. So yeah, so like this video, share to anybody who is an Adelaide Strikers fan or a fellow Melbourne Renegades fan. Comment down below. If you're a Renegades fan, comment down below. Are you riding this wave of Renegades momentum? And how long do you think this is gonna last? And also, how many wickets do you think Henry Thornton's gonna get? Because he's already on 11 wickets from 3 matches. If he continues on like this, he'll probably get 40 wickets in the Big Bash season if he doesn't get injured. So I'd just like to hear your opinions on both of those. And one last thing, somewhere down there, click on the big red button which is labeled subscribe. And until next time, guys, I'll see you guys later, and wherever you may be, may the sun or the moon shine on you.